Hey, World Open War is here, and as this video releases, there's a couple of hours till the first game starts, and this is going to be my analysis of the meta for World Open War 24. Now, World Open War is a team tournament, so that changes up a lot of stuff because you can choose which missions that you want to play. You get 3 tables with a mission on each of them, so you can choose terrain and mission, and that changes a lot of things. And it's 1100 points, V3 modified. So there was a whole pack put out. Yeah. So I'm going to go over what nations people are playing, how many order dice they are using, what platoons they are taking, and how many. What builds I'm seeing, army builds, and what the different groups look like, and what I think is going to happen in those groups. Because on the first day, the national teams are playing in groups, and then on the second day, there's playoff in new groups. So at the end, I will talk about why I'm not actually predicting what lists are good here. And I'm instead going to talk about maybe players and what that means. But there'll be some takeaways at the end. So let's go. World Open War, Germany has clearly become the most successful nation, the one that most people pick. So Germany is back. Germany has been made great by version 3, and I think it has to do with the new force organization chart that really changes up the possibilities for Germans. Soviets is the second most important one, and there's 11 people playing Soviets, 12 playing Germans. And I think that for the Soviets as well as for the Germans, Germany always had a lot of good units that you could pick and choose from, right? As did the Soviets. So these two nations had a lot of units, a lot more than many other nations. And that range of units really does something good with the new force organization chart. Then comes the Americans. They are less popular. 9 people are playing Americans. And the Brits have fallen from first place, absolutely fallen down. There's now only 6 people playing Brits, and not a single one has Gurkhas in their army. There's 3 Japanese players, which was a surprise. I didn't think there would be any. But some people are making a go of Japan still. And then 3 Finnish players, which maybe not as much of a surprise. Finns have always been good, but the lists that we're seeing for the Finns, though, that is a huge surprise, because they are spamming out armor. It's Finnish armor lists, which I had not thought anyone would take, but people are. And then finally at the end, 2 Hungarians. The tournament adjustment package really made for some interesting combinations with the minor nations, and I think Hungary is the one that was most attractive for that, and we can see that with 2 people playing Hungarians. What about order dice? Well, people are taking between 13 and 24 order dice. 20 is the norm, and this is what I've been saying. I mean, if we go back to version 2 and look at tournaments that had 1100 points, people would be taking at approximately 16, 17 order dice. That would be it. Now, that average has boosted up, so now the average for 1100 points is 18.9 order dice, so almost 19 order dice, 2 more than before. 20 is now the norm. I mean, that is the new force organization chart at play. That is what you can do, because you can now spam out units, and we're seeing a lot of MSU in this tournament, so multiple small units. The highest average is the Soviets, which has 22.6, and the lowest is Germany, which has 17.6. We'll see if that makes a difference, because normally I'd say that more order dice is better, but we don't know. I mean, it might be the case that they're just too high and they start becoming vulnerable by having too many order dice, right? Platoons. Now, two-thirds of all players take 4 platoons. So that was the maximum you could take. You could take 4 platoons. And a clear majority of players does take 4 platoons. The Scottish team has the fewest per player. They have 2.6 on average, which is very low. There were even teams where all the players had 4 platoons. And there is more than 2 rifle platoons on average, which is interesting, because for World Open War, you could take 4 platoons, right? 2 of them could be specials, but for each special you took, you had to have a rifle platoon. So basically, you could take 3 rifle platoons, 4 rifle platoons if you wanted to, but for each of these extra platoons, you had to take one rifle platoon. But on average, there's more rifle platoons than there are players here, so they're picking extra platoons up. Then we have 31 armored platoons. So armored platoons are clearly a thing, clearly something that people want and are looking for. 26 artillery platoons, and that was a very, very common combo that people take 2 rifle platoons, an artillery platoon, and a heavy platoon or an armored platoon. That combination, really, really common. 26 artillery platoons, 17 heavy platoons, and only 4 engineer platoons. And notice one thing here, 0 recce platoons, not a 1. No recce platoons. Right. Just a sec.
Hi.
Hey. Right. So, army builds. What am I seeing here? Well, gun lines absolutely dominate. I'm seeing so many gun lines. And, well, like more than half of the people here have that combination of 2 rifle platoons, an artillery platoon, and a heavy platoon. Or even if they're taking armor platoons, they're still picking something that has large guns where you want to stay at range. Gun lines is a thing, and I've been saying that this version 3 really lends itself to gun lines. We are going to have more terrain on tables. Otherwise, this will devolve into a static game. I'm also seeing MSU, multiple small units. I am myself playing an MSU army for World Open War, and we shall see how they do. Normally, multiple platoons, multiple order dice is good if you can make it work. But it also means you're vulnerable, right? Because you have a lot of like 2-man groups, and they die really quickly in version 3. There's also quite a few that works with forward deployers, especially Soviets. Soviet scouts is a thing. And we have some bombardment lists that take advantage of multi-rocket launchers or the new rules for air observers or artillery observers. So basically sitting back, bombarding you, and hoping that you spend 6 turns rallying. What I'm not seeing is assault lists. There is not a single one, and they were dominant at the end of version 2. There is 0 assault lists. And there is 1 barbecue list. There's 1 person still doing barbecuing. And that's it. They've gone away. All the meta that was there for version 2 has now removed and it's been replaced by gun lines mostly. We shall see what that does and how the gun lines fare against these other types of armies. So what about the groups? Group A is the one that I'm in. Is going to be Denmark, Germany, Spain 2, and Barbarians, which is a mixed group of, there's a Dane in there, there's a couple of Brits, and so it's a mixed group. And Barbarians were always like a team that was the extra team in case someone needed to drop out or something. So what I'm thinking will happen here is if Denmark can beat the Barbarians, They should have a fair chance at beating Spain too. And then it's down to Denmark and Germany. Those two are going to be it for me there. The two nations to watch in this group. Because I'm biased, I won't give a prediction for this, but I of course think that my own team will win this, but I'm not sure. But we are the defending champions. We do have a lot to fight for here. Group B is Spain 1, USA, British Lions, which is a combined British team with people from many places in Great Britain, and Wales 2. This one is an interesting group because in many respects, USA has a really strong team with really strong lists, but Spain is, of course, the defending world champions in four-man bolt action. I think Spain will win this, but I think perhaps they might lose some games to either the British Lions or the Americans. Group C is Wales, Poland, and the Netherlands and Denmark too, called Mixed Nuts, which is it's two Danes and one British person. They unfortunately they had a German playing, but he had a medical thing, so he dropped. And for this pool, it's difficult to say. I'm not sure, because Mixed Nuts is a good team, so is Poland, so is Wales, the Netherlands as well. It's going to be a bloodfest. I think perhaps Wales might come out on top, but I'm not sure. And this is not me reacting to the lists, this is just based on the players who are there. All of them really top quality, top-notch competitor players. Group D is the home nation group. So it's Scotland, England, Northern Ireland, and Pirates, which is South Coast Pirates. I think they're from Sussex, so down in the south of England. And so that's all British players. They know each other. They've played each other many times. I think this is going to be a bloodfest. I think it will be down to England and Scotland, these two teams. And which of those will win, I am not comfortable saying. I think perhaps the Scots have a slight edge, but I'm not definitely sure. And that's, again, just me reacting to what players I'm seeing on those teams, not the lists themselves. So, why am I not reacting to the lists? Well, for me, I think this is the first major tournament of B3. I have so little data, I have so little experience so far of what is good that I don't feel comfortable actually saying to you what lists are like in version 2 at the end. I was ranking lists comfortably, right? Saying this is a 3, this is a 2, whatever. Right now, I don't feel comfortable doing that because I have not got the experience to do it. I will need more data. I will need to go to more tournaments before I start to feel like I can do that in a way that's fair and balanced. So that's why I'm not doing that. So predictions based on players will be that Denmark wins Group A, I think, perhaps. Spain wins Group B, Wales wins Group C, and England, perhaps, or Scotland wins Group D. And then it's down to those four nations. I think Denmark or Spain, one of those two, I think, but I'm not sure. So it will be an interesting weekend. I will try to keep you posted on what happens. The main takeaways for me is now that close quarters is dead. No one is taking it. It's not happening. Gun lines dominate, as I've been saying. It's absolutely coming true. The things that I've been saying about this edition, it's there. We're going to have to deal with it. The Soviet unit selection is still very, very good, meaning that Soviets still have a huge advantage, as is the German autocannon and LMG spam. That also is a huge advantage for those two nations. The final takeaway that I'll go over here is Darker tanks. I'm not sure Darker tanks is a thing anymore. There are players bringing Darker tanks, especially the Panzer IIIs, and we shall see if they still have the effect on the game they did in version 2. We don't know, but they're trying them out, so we shall see. A lot of the other tanks that are being brought now is autocannon tanks. So there's so many autocannon tanks. Like in a year ago in version 2, when you went to a tournament, you would see 60% Darker Stuarts, basically, or Panzer IIIs. Now you're seeing 60+% autocannon bearing Panzer Lux and 222s and Humbers and whatever, right? So the Darker tanks have been replaced, but they haven't gone completely. That was it from me. I want to give a shout out to Michael Christensen and Michael Fie, who's helped me go over the lists and helped me think about all of this. And I will see you when I do updates from the event itself. That's it. Now I need to go and train for the event, because for me it's Thursday and the first person has just stepped inside the door. Hi, Torben. And we're going to train for the weekend. So see you then. Cheers.